I used to believe my life was simple and good. My name is Daniel, and for 8 years I had been married to the woman I loved more than anyone in the world, Emily. We weren't rich, we didn't live in a big house, and our lives were mostly ordinary, but I always thought we were happy. Our mornings usually began the same way. I woke up first, made coffee, and she would come into the kitchen a few minutes later with sleepy eyes and messy hair. She would wrap her arms around me from behind and rest her head on my shoulder. "How did I get so lucky?" she used to say jokingly. In the evenings we watched movies together, talked about work, and sometimes argued about small, meaningless things, like what to order for dinner. Nothing dramatic, nothing serious, just normal life. At least, that's what I believed. The first change was so small that I almost ignored it. Emily started spending more time on her phone. At first it seemed harmless. Everyone checks their phone a lot these days. But then she began taking it everywhere. Even to the bathroom. One night while we were watching TV, her phone lit up on the table. She quickly grabbed it before I could see the screen. "Who's texting?" I asked casually. "Oh, just a coworker," she said quickly. Too quickly. Another change was the way she looked at me, or rather, the way she didn't. She seemed distant. Conversations became shorter. Her laughter felt forced, like she was acting in a play she didn't want to be part of anymore. And then there were the late nights at work. "I have to stay late again," she would say. Big project. At first I believed her. Why wouldn't I? She was my wife. But something inside me began to whisper that something wasn't right. The truth came to me on an ordinary Tuesday evening. Emily had left her phone on the kitchen counter while she was in the shower. I wasn't planning to check it. I really wasn't. But then the screen lit up. A message appeared. "I miss you already." My stomach tightened. Under the message was a name I didn't recognize, Mark. My hands were shaking when I picked up the phone. I told myself there had to be an explanation. Maybe it was a friend. Maybe it meant something else. But when I opened the conversation, the truth hit me like a punch to the chest. Messages. Dozens of them. "Last night was amazing. I wish I could wake up next to you every day. Does your husband suspect anything?" I felt the room spinning around me. My chest felt tight, like I couldn't breathe. The woman I trusted more than anyone had been living a completely different life behind my back. When Emily came out of the shower, I was sitting at the kitchen table with her phone in front of me. She immediately noticed my face. "What's wrong?" she asked slowly. I pushed the phone toward her. "Who is Mark?" Her face turned pale. She didn't answer. "Emily," I said, my voice shaking. "Who is he?" She sat down across from me. For a moment she just stared at the table. It's not what you think," she whispered. I laughed bitterly. "Oh really? Because from what I read, it looks exactly like what I think." Tears filled her eyes. "It just happened," she said. "Just happened," I repeated. "You accidentally fell in love with another man." "I didn't mean for it to go this far," she cried. But by then it was too late. The damage had already been done. That night was the longest night of my life. I felt everything at once. Shock, anger, sadness, confusion. My mind kept replaying memories of us together, but now they felt different. Like they belonged to someone else. Was she thinking about him when we were watching movies together? When she hugged me in the morning, was it all fake? The worst part wasn't just the betrayal. It was the realization that the life I believed in, the marriage I trusted, might have been an illusion. Over the next few days I couldn't stop thinking about the past. I wondered where things went wrong. Did I miss the signs? Was I too busy with work? Too distant? Too comfortable? Maybe relationships don't collapse in a single moment. Maybe they slowly crack over time, until one day everything breaks. But even if I had made mistakes, I kept asking myself one question. Why didn't she talk to me instead of finding someone else? For several days I didn't know what to do. Part of me wanted to fight for our marriage. 8 years together isn't something you throw away easily. But another part of me felt like trust, once broken, might never fully return. Emily apologized again and again. She said it was a mistake. She said she would end things with him. And maybe she meant it. But the question wasn't just whether she could change. It was whether I could ever look at her the same way again. In the end, we decided to separate. It wasn't a dramatic decision. No shouting, no slammed doors, just quiet acceptance that something between us had broken beyond repair. She moved out 2 weeks later. Watching her pack her things felt surreal, like I was watching someone else's life instead of my own. Sometimes love doesn't end with hatred or anger. Sometimes it ends with silence. I learned that trust is the foundation of every relationship. Once it cracks, everything built on top of it begins to fall apart. And although the pain took a long time to fade, the experience taught me something important. Loving someone deeply is never a mistake. But forgetting to value honesty and communication can destroy even the strongest love.